Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa's story begins long before audiences first encountered the piercing gaze, commanding voice, and magnetic presence that would one day define him on screens around the world. Born on September 27, 1950, in Tokyo, he entered a world already shaped by movement, culture, and artistry. His mother, Mariko Hata, belonged to the renowned Takarazuka Revue, a theatrical company built on discipline and elegance, where performances seemed to float between dream and precision. His father, a Japanese-American U.S. Army veteran, carried himself with the poise and fortitude of a soldier who had seen hardship. Together, they created a home full of cultural depth, quiet strength, and artistic energy. Because of his father's military service, Tagawa's early years were a blur of new cities, shifting landscapes, and constant adaptation. He spent portions of his childhood at Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Polk in Louisiana, and Fort Hood in Texas. Each new military installation exposed him to different people, rhythms, and cultural nuances. As a boy who moved often, he learned how to observe before speaking, how to adjust before resisting, and how to find identity in the midst of constant change. English and Japanese became intertwined in his mind, and as he grew older, he embraced new languages, Russian, Korean, and Spanish, revealing a quiet fascination with global cultures and human connection. When the family eventually settled in Southern California, the next chapter of Tagawa's life began to take shape. At Duarte High School, he discovered acting, first tentatively, then passionately. What began as a hobby soon became a path, and that path grew deeper when he attended the University of Southern California. Yet his curiosity could not be confined to a single discipline. Drawn to the structured intensity of martial arts, Tagawa returned to Japan on an exchange program and immersed himself in kendo and Shotokan karate. Under the guidance of Masatoshi Nakayama, one of the most respected instructors within the Japan Karate Association, Tagawa learned not just how to control his body, but how to master his spirit. Those lessons would follow him for decades, manifesting in every performance that required calm, precision, and lethal grace. After completing his formative studies, Tagawa began the long, uncertain climb of a young actor seeking his place in Hollywood. Unlike many of his peers, he understood that building a career required patience and discipline, qualities he had sharpened since childhood. The early years brought small roles and long waits, moments of doubt, and the subtle pressure placed on Asian actors in an industry that offered limited opportunities. Yet Tagawa pressed forward, knowing that each step, no matter how small, moved him closer to where he needed to be. That moment arrived in 1987 with Bernardo Bertolucci's The Last Emperor. Cast as Eunuch Chang, Tagawa delivered a performance that was haunting, elegant, and unforgettable. His presence lingered even after his scenes ended, catching the attention of critics and filmmakers alike. 2 years later, he stepped into the James Bond universe in License to Kill. As an undercover agent of the Hong Kong Narcotics Board, Tagawa shared the screen with actors whose names carried global resonance. Hollywood took notice. This was no ordinary newcomer. This was a performer capable of depth, intensity, and astonishing focus. By 1991, audiences saw him unleash his full dramatic power. In Showdown in Little Tokyo, he portrayed Yoshida, a ruthless Yakuza boss whose cold cruelty electrified the screen. His ability to blend menace with charisma made him unforgettable. That same year, he appeared in The Perfect Weapon, again embodying a figure of martial authority and control. Each role added another layer to his growing reputation as an actor who could deliver both physicality and emotional tension. In 1993, Tagawa appeared in Rising Sun, acting opposite industry giants Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. Playing the troubled heir of a wealthy Japanese family, Tagawa gave a performance filled with restraint and vulnerability. He was no longer just a villain or martial arts figure, he was a dramatic powerhouse capable of intricate emotional expression. But everything changed in 1995 when he stepped into the role that would forever define him in the eyes of millions, Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. His performance was nothing short of legendary. With a voice that rumbled like distant thunder and eyes that seemed to see through the soul, Tagawa brought a video game character to life with theatrical flair and riveting authenticity. Fans instantly embraced him. For many, he was not merely playing Shang Tsung, he was Shang Tsung. His delivery of the iconic line, "Your soul is mine," became one of the most enduring moments in gaming cinema. The character followed him throughout his life, returning in 2013 in the web series Mortal Kombat, Legacy, and again in 2019 when he reprised the Sorcerer in Mortal Kombat 11. To fans, it felt like destiny reclaiming its rightful place. Even decades after the original film, Tagawa's voice, expressions, and energy remained unmatched. Yet his career was far more expansive than one iconic role. He stunned audiences in The Phantom, 1996, as the brutal pirate leader Kabai sang, and delivered emotional resonance in Snow Falling on Cedars, 1999, a story that confronted racism, love, and loss. He appeared in Pearl Harbor and Planet of the Apes in 2001, and his thoughtful participation in the documentary, The Slanted Screen, demonstrated his commitment to improving Asian representation in Hollywood. His versatility extended into the world of gaming adaptations when he portrayed Heihachi Mishima in Tekken, 2009, and Tekken 2, 2014, bringing gravitas to yet another iconic character. In animation, he lent his voice to Brushigun in Teen Titans, Trouble in Tokyo, adding depth to the film's mysterious antagonist. One of his most acclaimed performances arrived in 2015 when he took on the role of Trade Minister Nobusuke Tagomi in The Man in the High Castle. Through quiet intensity and profound emotional conflict, Tagawa created a character whose moral dilemmas resonated deeply with audiences. His portrayal captivated viewers and critics, introducing him to a new generation who marveled at his ability to convey vulnerability, strength, and spiritual turmoil in a single expression. Away from the camera, Tagawa's personal life underwent its own profound evolutions. In 2015, after years of introspection and spiritual seeking, he embraced Eastern Orthodoxy, a decision rooted in deep personal conviction rather than public expectation. 1 year later, in 2016, he became a Russian citizen, a move that surprised many but ultimately reflected his long-standing connection to Russian culture, language, and spirituality. These choices revealed a man who never feared reinvention, who valued inner truth more than public approval. Long before these later transformations, Tagawa had found love with Sally Phillips, an artist from San Diego. Introduced in 1984 by a mutual friend, they built a partnership grounded in candor, devotion, and shared dreams. They married the same year and raised 3 children, Kaylin, Bryn, and Kana, choosing to live quietly in Kauai, far from Hollywood's glare. For nearly 30 years, their marriage anchored him, offering stability in a world defined by shifting roles and global fame. Even after their separation in 2014, the respect between them remained evident. Phillips continued her artistic career in San Diego, while Tagawa carried forward the lessons of love, family, and dedication that had shaped their decades together. In the final chapter of his life, Tagawa continued to work, reflect, and cherish his family. When he passed away on December 4, 2025, at his home in Santa Barbara due to complications from a stroke, he left the world not in the midst of flashing cameras, but surrounded by the presence of his children. He was 75 years old. News of his passing rippled across the globe. Filmmakers, actors, martial artists, and fans poured out tributes, sharing memories of how his performances had shaped their childhoods, inspired their careers, or opened doors for Asian representation in Western media. Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa leaves behind a legacy woven from discipline, cultural pride, artistic courage, and spiritual depth. He was a bridge between East and West, between mythic villains and compassionate humanity, between the physicality of martial arts and the emotional weight of storytelling. Fans will forever remember him as the soul-stealing sorcerer, the warrior with the electrifying stare, the man whose presence could dominate a room with a single breath. But to those who knew him, he was far more. A father, a seeker, a man who built his life with intention and lived it with unwavering authenticity. Though his physical journey has ended, the worlds he shaped continue to echo with his spirit. In every performance that still captivates audiences, in every character who carries his influence, in every fan who grew up imitating his lines, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa remains immortal, timeless, powerful, and unforgettable.